Hello there, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval theme format where I, the Crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who, apologies, I didn't put up a video last week. I wasn't feeling very well, and also I went to a Warhammer event to play Realms of Ruin with my actual employer. This is obviously a freelance gig working for What Culture now, Future Games Show, so go check out the content we've done on there. But apologies, I did miss the video going out last week. It felt weird for me too. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other to thank than Celiana. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name there. All I was thinking of was salami as I said it out there. Tasty, tasty salami. Yes, you. Thank you very much for your suggestion of video games that no one had any expectations of, but then went on to blow us all out of the water. Oh yeah. Because the 8 games that we're going to be talking about today all arrived on the scenes with not just low expectations, but basically no expectations. From games that were randomly dumped onto the market without any marketing at all, to those releasing from studios with zero clout, these games all had humble origins and yet quickly wound up on everybody's lips. I love these games. They're so tasty. It's tasty as salami, actually, thinking about it. No, stop thinking about salami, Jules. Let's talk about the video games in question, as I am Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 video games with zero expectations that blew everyone away. And you know the drill by now. Put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comment section below. Get in there early. Why not? Hey, why not? Let's get on with this list, shall we? Yes. Number 8, Telltale's The Walking Dead. Now, Telltale Games certainly wasn't an obscure company in 2012, having amassed a cult fan base for their episodic adventure games based on Sam & Max, Monkey Island, Back to the Future, and Jurassic Park. Yet these successes were cult successes. A lot of people who played them said that they were absolutely amazing, but not that many people had heard or therefore had played them. So, when they announced that The Walking Dead was going to be the next IP they were going to tackle, everyone who'd already played Telltale Games was like, yes! And everyone else was like, what? Who? What? That cat meme, you know, the one that comes on and honks? Dan, bring it on now. Huh? But by the time the first season's 5 episodes had been released, that all changed, with rave reviews from critics and players alike turning Telltale's The Walking Dead into a pop culture phenom in its own right. As a result, it sold more than 8.5 million separate episodes in its launch year alone, alongside numerous Game of the Year awards. And with that, Telltale was elevated to big boy, big deal status, which is a very elite club, let me tell you. I am not a member, but I hope to get allowed through the door rather than just peek through the window every year at their Christmas parties. That's sad. Let's not focus on that. And soon, Telltale, they actually managed to move on from this IP and add so many more into their rosters. We had Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Borderlands, we had motherflipping Batman over there. But the problem was that they went on to oversaturate their own market. And it kind of, led to a lot of nastiness. Let's just put it that way. Number 7, Rocket League. So when Sony Interactive announced that they were going to be releasing a silly little sports game where you drove cars around and hit footballs into foot goals with your foot feet, but the foot feet were actually cars, everyone was like, well, I might as well give it a try, it's free. I mean, it's just going to be a silly little time waster. Probably spend about 10 to 15 minutes on this. Oh dear, that's 3 years of my life down the drain. Oh dear, and I'm still not good at it. Because when Rocket League released in July 2015, nobody could have anticipated that it would have had the staying power to be relevant almost an entire decade later. After developer Psyonix's previous car football game, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars, flopped at retail due to a lack of marketing, the developer was desperate to get more eyes on their follow-up, and partnering with Sony to release it on PS Plus was the smartest business move that they could have made, something that they themselves admit, instantly opening up to a player base of tens of millions on PS4. And I don't even need to tell you why Rocket League was such a success. I mean, just look at any of the footage that you can find online. It allows for some of the craziest, most over-the-top and, let's face it, kind of smug plays that you can experience in the entirety of online esports gaming. It is a blast to play with friends, and it is, well, I was going to say fun to be absolutely crushed by somebody schooling you over and over again, but still, you have to admire their effort and skill, even when you're like 13-0 down and you're just there like, well, at least it looked good for you. Thanks. Number 6, Undertale. Now, Undertale is such an iconic RPG nowadays that it's very easy to forget its very, very humble origins, because this was effectively the little RPG that could, and then did, and then dominated, and then maybe oversaturated it and overstayed its welcome to the point now where every time I see like a meme about Flowey, I'm a bit like, Ugh, it's like those kids going around doing skibbity toilet. It's just a bit embarrassing for them. It is. Come on, let's just face it, it is. Anyway, let's talk about the positives here, and Toby Fox's deeply strange, hilarious, and endlessly creative title, which received universal acclaim upon its release in 2015, taking the world by storm with its totally unique approach to, well, just about everything. For a game coming from such humble origins and with a crowd-funded budget of barely $50,000, to become a bona fide pop culture event in its own right was something that nobody, least of all Fox himself, could have ever seen coming. And yes, while like I said before, it's definitely overstayed its welcome in a few areas, you cannot deny the impact that this game has had on the genre and many others as well, because the amount of fourth wall breaking meta humor of manipulating gameplay mechanics to go against the expectations of the player, that definitely saw a huge rise after the release of this game. So yes, for as much as damage as it's done with its weird fan base, thank you Undertale, thank you. Little kiss on the head for you. Number 5, Astros Playroom. It's always sensible not to expect much from pack-in games that are shipped with consoles for free, because let's be honest, if they were that good, they would have been sold separately. But occasionally, console makers don't try to squeeze every last penny out of the players, which is evidenced by the PS5 launching with the platformer Astros Playroom pre-installed. And here's the thing, when you loaded up the PS5 and you saw this title on there, you were just probably like, oh, let's just load it up and see what absolute cack they bundled it with. Nothing is going to top Demo 1 on the PlayStation 1 where you had the T-Rex that you could make raw on command. Nothing will top that. Oh wait, what's this? This is actually brilliant. Well, blow me down and sweep me out the door. And though the game only lasts around 2 hours, what a short but sweet experience it is. A visually stunning, brilliantly designed love letter to all things PlayStation that absolutely could have been sold at an indie game price. And for all of the other must-play launch titles that the PS5 had, and let's just count them here, and we're done, Astros Playroom was one of the very best, and one consistently hailed as a pleasant surprise by both critics and players alike. Number 4, Disco Elesium. Okay, so Jules is going to talk about Disco Elesium again, because he absolutely loves this game. I cannot stress that enough. So let me just grease up my hands here, because I'm so excited. I'm so bloody excited. I'm like a little rat, but I'm chewing down on quality gaming experiences. What am I doing? Right, okay, let's talk about this actually brilliant game. So when Disco Elesium released in October 2019, had heard anything about it at all. Developed by a totally unknown team, this RPG understandably arrived without much in the way of buzz. No matter that this all changed once reviewers actually got their hands on it. It's one of those titles where even if I sat here and explained, as I have in many of my other videos, why you should play Disco Elesium, it all boils down to you should just play it yourself, because the amount of choice, the amount of control, the amount of inverted expectations, the silly humor, the very serious politics and esoterical thinking that goes on in this game, it is unique in how deep this game is, whilst appearing to actually have mastered the point-and-click detective mystery game. It's fantastic as in its own genre, and then breaks out of it to do everything better in other genres. I love this game so much, mainly because of the fact that you play as a unlovable loser, and I relate to that so much. Number 3, Vampire Survivors. So in the previous entry, when I was rubbing my greasy little rat hands together, that's because I love this game. Now I feel like right about now we're going to cut to Dan, who is doing the exact same. Because Dan, do you want to talk about Vampire Survivors a little bit and how much you love this game? Because you know what? I'm actually got a script here. I would like you to just tell the people at home why they should play this game. And also it just received a DLC or expansion that gives it a single player or something like that, I've heard. Take it away, Dan. Number 2, HighFi Rush. Okay, so shadow dropping a video game is, if you were to ask anyone in the sort of marketing department of a video game publisher, it's pretty much a bad idea. It's very risky to say the least, because you're basically just going hey, you know those millions and millions that people spend to have their games pushed everywhere and they still fail because not enough people heard about them? Let's do away with all of that and just push it out onto the storefront. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. But it did with HighFi Rush. Developer dropped a reveal trailer for the game and then announced that it was also releasing later that day. Now, historically, it's been incredibly rare for publishers to shadow drop genuinely brilliant titles, but rather risk their strategy with more on-the-bubble titles which might benefit from the sudden viral chit-chat. Plus, Tango Gameworks, the team behind The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, making a rhythm game? Well, I mean, that could certainly go either way. Yet HighFi Rush released to rave reviews across the board, with massive praise for its eye-popping visuals, addictive combat, and lighter-than-air tone. And even though it landed on Xbox Game Pass the same day, it still managed to chart on Steam, even dethroning AAA flop Forspoken, so that's something, isn't it? Although, to be fair, at that point, that was kind of just like punching somebody in the head as they were already falling off of a ladder onto a pit of spikes. It's just like a bit unnecessary, really, at that point. Anyway, HighFi Rush, absolute banger. And number 1, Ringfit Adventure. Now, of all of the video games you expected me to probably talk about today, Ringfit Adventure probably wasn't one of them. But then again, those who played it, oh yes, absolute creamy gold, mate. Creamy gold. The game was announced just 5 weeks before its October 2019 release and initially didn't move the needle much with players who simply saw it as yet another by-the-book workout game, and one requiring a pricey additional peripheral to boot. But that all changed when the pandemic hit a few months later and we all found ourselves unable to hit the gym. Suddenly, demand for Ring Fit Adventure skyrocketed because why not get away from the existential dread of a global plague by gripping a plastic ring very tightly? And as somebody who actually looked into getting one of these myself, I saw the price tag of what they were going for, because obviously with increased demand becomes increased prices. 300 quid. 300 quid. Get like, I'm sorry, get And as of this past March, this game has sold more than 15 million copies. But beyond the mere desperation to get some exercise without leaving the house, it was also widely lauded for gamifying workouts in a highly creative way. So yes, big thumbs up to Ring Fit Adventure, but also big thumbs down to the scalpers who ruined the market. Boo! Boo to you! Boo to you. That also goes for Warhammer scalpers as well. You know who you are. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games with 0 expectations that blew everyone away. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below, because I love reading all your comments. It's just nice for me to see what suggestions you've got, and it's just nice for me to just touch base and see how you're doing, my friends. And speaking of how you're doing, hope that you're doing well. Hope you're treating yourself well, because even though we spoke today about video games that had 0 expectations, I actually have high expectations for you, because I know you're a massive ledge. I know that you're going to go out there and smash your life goals. So remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to give yourself a bit of a break every once in a while, and also remember to double down when you know that something is right and hit it with all that force, because I want you to achieve your life goals and do well to live a healthy and happy life, my friend. Big love to you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.